again, one more time, big congratulations to your Los Angeles Lakers.
Champions! The champions!
No, that's the other show, Rick. That's the other free agent
That's
show.
the other show.
UEFA Champions League.
The champions!
The free agents bring you a Champions League.
That's it. It was a great series. I'm very sad. I really thought the Heat. I'm not going to blame it on injuries, but obviously losing Goran Dragic early and Bam for 2 games was really tough. I thought Jimmy Buckets solidified his position as a winner, as a great teammate, and I think a lot of the NBA owes him an apology, Baz. I know all of us thought he was a great player.
Why'd you say it like I owe him an apology?
Well, I got to pick someone out.
Straight to Baz. Baz, you owe him an apology.
But I'm sitting here as a Heat fan. I'm very happy with our performance. I was a bit concerned at one point there was a possibility of a sweep, but Jimmy Buckets played incredible. Although he did have a very lackluster final game 6, but I mean, come on, man, the guy played 47 of 48 minutes in game 5.
Can I just call that stat out? I saw that stat. He sat for a total of 49 seconds in game 5.
That's crazy.
That's ridiculous. That is literally putting like the city on your back.
You could see when he was leaning up against behind the basket, he just looked like he'd left everything on the floor, and it kind of like it was a moment for me where I was like, we deserve to be there. At certain points, I felt like, maybe we weren't meant to be there, and maybe, we lucked our way in there. But it was plays like that and players like that that made me feel like this might not be our only time in the finals in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was great to see. I'm very proud of the Heat for putting on a series. I didn't want to see anyone get swept, especially in the NBA Finals. So it's good to see. And it's funny that you mentioned Jimmy Butler getting recognized, because I kind of feel that was a story of the playoffs with him and AD, because they were both heavily disrespected. Throughout, because AD was always getting, he can't do it in the West. He doesn't want to play.
Yeah, he
doesn't
can't
want to be in the Pelicans. He can't win.
He can't get a playoff series. Got no playoff experience. All those sort of
and he was dealing that, and then Jimmy Buckets was getting it all that he's the problem at Philly.
Yeah,
T-Wolves, the Bulls, and it's kind of proven. And Chris Paul had like a redemption as well with OKC.
Yeah, he did, especially early on. He really showed that he can kind of do it anywhere and put a team on his back still at that age.
So like they all three of them had great seasons. It was good to see like a kind of redemption. I mean, with AD, he kind of looked injured in game 5, and it makes me wonder if he'd been playing for the Pelicans, if he would just sat out and gone, I don't want to play.
Yeah, if he would have gone cruise mode. And I think this is where, and I know Chuck mentioned earlier, he really wanted AD for that Finals MVP spot. And the stats really don't discredit that comment. But for me, I think what pushed him and what made AD as good as he was this season, and LeBron kind of semi-alluded to it in his speech when he got the Finals MVP, was that LeBron was always like, you're the best player, I'm going to be with you and I'm going to support you. Similar to the way that he said that Dwayne Wade, Udonis Haslem and Bosh pushed him when he got to Miami.
Yeah.
He'd been known for not getting to the finals, but not getting over that hump. And he felt like he had to take on that role with AD and sort of push him over that hump and go, you have the talent. I'm here with you. Let's ride together.
Yeah, like personally, I always thought AD had the talent. But then when you see him do it on the biggest stage in the NBA Finals and he's now an NBA champion, it solidifies his status, and he warrants to be in that position as probably the best or the second best big man.
I would say he is right now in the NBA the best big man.
Behind him and the Joker, Nikola Jokic. It'd be very close.
And then you've got Embiid, who I think is extremely talented.
He'd be well behind those two.
I think he's third. I don't think he's well behind, but I definitely think it's third. And then I think, honestly, there's a big gap between fourth and fifth. I think you're talking maybe Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns. But I definitely think that AD and Jokic set themselves apart from the rest of the big man in the NBA, especially with what they both did in the bubble. But just quickly, the man had, like Anthony Davis in here, had 3.2 assists, 1.3 steals, and 2 blocks. Obviously, you're not going to compare this to Giannis because Giannis didn't make it that far. But defensively, he was absolutely incredible. Yes, the Heat are an undersized team. But still, it seemed that, and I pointed this out to you guys as we were watching the finals together, just sort of like how little the Heat wanted to shoot inside the key. They'd get to the key, Anthony Davis would take 2 steps across, and they'd be looking to pass the ball, trying to get an outside shot. So Anthony Davis really did some great defensive stuff to keep, the Heat at bay. But look, at the end of the day, LeBron almost averaged a triple-double in the finals at 35 years of age.
You've got to give it to him.
It's his ring.
Like
It's
it
his
was always
finals
gonna
MVP.
it was always gonna go to LeBron James. After you saw the numbers he put up in game 1 and game 2, and then game 5 he put up almost 40 points.
Yeah, when you score 40 points in a finals game at his age, and especially because AD, not had parts where he went missing, but obviously he had a few injuries. He turned his ankle. There's a few times where you could see him hobbling a little bit. So LeBron turned it on at multiple occasions in this series, and that 40-point game to me was when he solidified finals MVP.
Yeah, 100%. And like in game 5, I remember watching it on my phone, and I was pretty disappointed that the Lakers lost.
Yeah, and
But it just goes to show they were playing bad. They weren't playing up to their potential in some of in the games that they did lose.
this is where you start to see the conspiracy theorists in the NBA come out and say like that they let the game go and that they let the Heat get some wins.
I don't think they let the game go.
No, and then you look at that game, and I know Danny Green copped a lot of flack for it, but
man, that hurt me. That did.
it was
Like
good.
seeing what happened. Like
Yeah.
you, as a professional, you expected to deal with it.
Yeah,
But it's game 5.
yeah.
People miss shots. It happens all the
People
time.
miss shots,
But, like
and-
it's not game 7.
No.
And you lose the
And
championship.
even then, I think Mark Jackson said the right thing where he's like, it's still just basketball. And to hear that his fiance was getting death threats, he tried to stay off social media because of some of the things that fans were saying. At the end of the
Chop,
day,
did you message Danny Green?
No, I actually.
I'm pretty sure that was shock.
You know what? I thought about it after the last podcast, and I was like, shit, I might have been a bit harsh on Danny Green. And I saw the shot, and I was like, oh, off the front rim. I'm like, oh, we've all been there.
Yeah, well, and
All the
that's
pressure's
it.
on.
Like these things happen to athletes, and obviously it doesn't change the series in the end. They get the win. But I was a bit disgusted to see and read some of the stuff that was talked about him like
Like
that.
why didn't Markieff Morris should have got some hate.
Well, I felt
That
like
pass was
Markieff.
disgusting.
Yeah, exactly right. And all he had to do realistically was
LeBron was open to
Exactly
his right. Or
right.
just lob it up to AD.
There's
or
just
pass it to your left to
he
KCP.
didn't even have to he didn't have to try and win the game on that pass. Just reset, get it to your best players. Instead, he threw a really horrendous pass. And just on top of that, I felt like it can't be all blamed on Danny Green, and you also can't put blame on LeBron because LeBron found the open shooter.
Yeah.
I know so many times we see people compare like, oh, well, Jordan will always hit that shot. Jordan's going to take the last shot. Baz, I think you know a few people that took the last shot, and Jordan, we were talking about it before, like Steve Kerr,
Yeah.
Paxton. There's a lot of guys that Jordan deferred to in clutch moments that hit the shot.
Yeah, that's right. And he mentions that in his Last Dance documentary. He knew, I think it was Paxton. He knew he was always open. He was on fire, and he got that 3.
Yeah,
I
he
think it was
hit,
against Phoenix.
yeah, correct. And he hits that shot, and if he misses that shot, obviously he didn't, but do we get the same treatment that Danny Green got for John Paxton?
Yeah.
I mean, you never know, but I think LeBron makes the right move there, and he missed. But I mean, at the end of the day, it was one game, and the Lakers come back to at one point.
And those
being up
people that
36.
threatened him should feel stupid.
They
Yeah.
should. They really should.
And like you see, like I'm pretty sure Snoop Dogg is not going to apologize because Snoop Dogg just he called him out. He's like, "Oh, Danny Green's a bitch," blah 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 on Instagram, and Danny Green just goes and posts that picture of him smoking the cigar, and I can't remember what the caption was, but he's like, "Yeah, look at me now."
Well, you look at before the season started, everyone was talking about like, oh, the guy to win 3 championships with 3 different teams is going to be Kawhi Leonard, and here we are,
Danny Green.
Danny Green.
I remember when he won it with the Spurs, and he was going to be NBA Finals MVP.
He was shooting the lights out in
Yeah,
that
he
series.
was going to be Finals MVP. I can't remember who. I think it went to Kawhi Leonard in the end, actually.
It did go to Kawhi Leonard in the end of
But
that
they were
series.
talking about Danny Green to get it.
And I think, obviously, LeBron, this almost solidifies his legacy. A lot of people have been saying there's an asterisk on this championship. I think the asterisk should be that it is one of the hardest NBA championships to win. You're dealing with a pandemic. LeBron has gone 4 months on top of other players in the bubble without seeing his family, friends, being able to go outside of a hotel room, being able to go outside Disney World without any of the sort of creature comforts that you can lean on when you're struggling. This on top of the movement that's happening in the US at the moment, the Black Lives Matters, the political protests, the political unrest, this has to be the hardest, I think, for all
Yeah.
sports, but especially in NBA where there's a high proportion of African American players. This has to be one of the hardest championships ever.